Don't miss the West Virginia highlight on Home and Garden Television. 2 homes overlooking the Canal River will be featured on the show. Architect Henry Elden's award-winning round glass home is called Topo Rock. It took 9 months to build back in 1966. Then the home next door was, there you go, next door was built and owned by his son Ted Elden, who is also an architect. Surprise. Tune in Saturday at 9 p.m.
The Weekend Work Zone now continues with Dream Builders.
This time on Dream Builders, a father-son architectural team. One finds inspiration in mathematics, the other from nature. Together, their designs are visionary. And a home high above Charleston, West Virginia, you'd think the owners of this property were seeking seclusion, but nothing could be further from the truth. Hi, I'm Scott Morgan. Welcome to Dream Builders. Today we'll look at 2 distinctive homes built by a father-son architectural team. And though they may be close in location, they're miles apart in design. Then we're off to Utah to see how one home takes advantage of its remarkable views, and then to Southern California to learn how an ancient building material may be the wave of the future. But we begin here in Charleston, West Virginia, where when it comes to cutting-edge design, sometimes father really does know best. Henry Elden's house sits on a ledge on what used to be a stone quarry.
I came to Charleston in 1937, and I fell in love with the city and the river, and especially the hills. And I pictured a house on the hills overlooking the river.
And right next door, resting on its own rocky perch, is the house his son Ted built.
There's art, there's architecture, there's many things, but there's nothing so superior as nature.
Respect for the existing land, the trees, the rocks, and animals. This was what most deeply influenced their visions of homes on a mountaintop. Beyond that, each went his own way. Henry's house is composed primarily of 2 circular structures whose walls are nothing but glass. The larger area is his studio space, essentially an atrium built around a rock and a large tree, which were there before the house was built.
I wanted to build within nature as much as I could.
The smaller circle, which serves as Elden's living space, is butted against the larger circle, which houses Elden's architecture studio.
It's only 15 or 20 feet between doors, but you actually have to go outside the building so that when the phones ring over there, I can't hear them here.
The 2 circular structures are made of steel, glass, and concrete.
The base, which we're sitting on right now, has 150,000 pounds of concrete in it.
Elden delights in the forms he finds in nature, simple in shape, yet complex in structure. His son, on the other hand, finds inspiration in mathematics, where complex shapes can be simple to construct. Ted returned to Charleston to help his father with the project.
I came back to West Virginia by accident, sort of, to help my father out briefly. I was fascinated with his work, and I found working with him to be a great thing.
Henry offered him a portion of his land on which to build his own home.
He had an idea, just as I did. And I said, well, I'll give you that little corner. Go ahead and use it. And he came up with these designs, but he worked it out, and I just assisted a little bit on the sideline. But it was his concept completely.
The primary design was the rhythm of the hyperbolic roofs on the edge of the cliff to frame space.
The shape has fascinated him since he was a boy, when his father gave him a geometric toy for Christmas.
When you look at this from the side view, then you begin to see the hyperbolic and the parabolic curves that it forms. A wonderful visual delight on the internal and external surfaces, which is quite separate from the simplicity of its gentrix.
Furthermore, the shape of the roof allowed him to put up walls of glass around the house, like his father, making the most of the natural setting and allowing people to take in the surrounding views.
It works both ways, too. You can enjoy the outside from within, and you can enjoy the inside from without.
But whereas Ted's tent-like structure is perfectly suited for passive solar heating,
the white roof reflects the sun, so the building works very well passively solar, collecting heat in the winter and dispelling it in the summer.
The massive windows in his father's house posed difficult problems when it came to heating. His solution was to install windowsill radiation systems.
So in this room, I have heat through the floor, heat at the wall level, and hot air.
By far the greatest difference between the two homes is this. While the father's overall design looks simple,
I don't think I spent more than 2 or 3 months on the design.
the structure was enormously difficult to put up. The actual design required only 5 architectural drawings, but it took 65 structural drawings and dozens of highly skilled construction workers 18 months to complete.
Dad's is a jigsaw puzzle. Every piece was individually designed and manufactured at a distant place and brought in and placed where the puzzle called for it.
Ted's home, on the other hand, was so simple to construct, a group of unskilled high school students could have put it up. And they did.
The funny part is that mine actually looks considerably more complex, but his is more complex. It's just a geometry question, and we address them in different ways.
And each, in his own way, struggles to explain the creative process, the alchemy, that transformed personal visions into architectural reality.
Why did I build this house this way in this place? In design, you play with the thing. You don't know where you're going, you play with the parts. But when you see it, then you know it.
It evolves. I can't tell you just how it came about, but yes, it was just a series of sketches. It evolved on itself.
The result, 2 remarkable homes on a West Virginia mountaintop, certainly fulfilled the singular visions of both father and son.
Yes, it embraces all the things that I love. It embraces the math and the hyperbolic shell. Yes, it embraces the inside and the outside. But I have all those things right here, all in one place.
Now, what's the philosophy? I don't know that I have any. But nature, take care of nature. And I wanted a place for my home and a place to work. And I think that I accomplished those goals.
Coming up, first came the view, then came the house. In Utah, making the most of what's outside the window. And in California, a new type of earth structure made with centuries-old material. Welcome back to Dream Builders. I'm Scott Morgan in Charleston, West Virginia. The homeowners obviously took into account the spectacular scenery here when building this house. The same holds true for a couple in our next story, whose longtime dream of a home with a view finally came true outside Utah's Zion National Park. Architects built this home here in Charleston, West Virginia. They obviously use modern materials. But in Southern California, a group of builders is creating structures using the oldest material known to man, earth.
Information about today's episode, or you may call 865-694-7879, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please remember the week number on your screen.
Welcome back to Dream Builders. I'm Scott Morgan in Charleston, West Virginia. Building a dream home doesn't always begin with a hilltop view and a father's inspiration. Sometimes it starts with a simple remodel. But as we see in this week's Field Notes, it doesn't always end there. View, to using an ancient building material, to building a home next to your dad. We've seen today how folks across the country are expanding their vision of home. We'll show you more next time on Dream Builders. From Charleston, West Virginia, I'm Scott Morgan. So long.
Discover the century-old design philosophy that celebrates comfort and simplicity on our special, The Arts and Crafts Legacy, Sunday at 5 Eastern on HGTV.
The arts and crafts movement